What's up, Cage Siders? It's your boy Sean coming at you like a house fire. It's been a couple weeks since I've done one of these. Had the Austin interview last week, which was pretty freaking cool, and that's really all I have to say about that. Yeah, it was pretty freaking cool. So I haven't done one of these in a couple weeks, so apparently it's bi-weekly now. Life and stuff. We'll do what we can. This is, an occasional. It's called like a house fire because it's supposed to come at you like a hot tag and hit you with a rumor or something, story, something that's buzzing in the world of pro wrestling, something that's got in yours truly's craw, and that's the idea. And what that is this week is, it's been a couple weeks since Hell in a Cell, which ended with Bray Wyatt appearing in the main event structure via holographic projection trickeration, and costing Dean Ambrose the match against Seth Rollins, setting up a feud between Ambrose and Wyatt, and setting Seth Rollins free to stay in the main event with the Authority, and eventually probably feud with a turned Randy Orton when he comes back from filming the Condemned 2 Deadly Bird or something. I forget what it's called. Bird of Prey. I don't know. Velociraptor. Maybe that would be a cool name. Condemned 2 Velociraptor. Let's go with that. Anyway, so we've had a couple weeks from that. I took a real cautious wait and see approach to the Hell in a Cell fallout. I was, as many of us were, encouraged that, not only were Ambrose and Rollins given the main event spot over Orton and Cena at the pay-per-view, but also that Wyatt was interjected, that he was, what the closing image of a pay-per-view in 2014 was Bray Wyatt, gloating over Dean Ambrose's fallen body while dirty heel Seth Rollins slinked away in victory. I mean, those three guys with more ahead of them in the company than behind them, given a chance to close a show, is noteworthy, if nothing else, and cause for some excitement. My problem with it, or the reason for my, Gino hates the term, but my wait and see approach for it, was that the Wyatt interruption didn't exactly feel earned to me. It felt shocking for shock's sake. So that put the burden on the following show, last week's Raw, and then earlier this week's Raw, to explain why this was a feud that we were going to care about. Ambrose had the motivation that Wyatt had cost him his most recent chance at revenge. We haven't seen Wyatt in a while, other than some creepy vignettes, his specialty. So what was going to be the story that was going to be put onto that moment at the pay-per-view to turn it into more than just a moment and an actual feud between these two, hot young acts. And in a couple of weeks, what we've gotten is a lot of Dean Ambrose matches with Cesaro, which, don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed, as much as I am personally vexed by Cesaro's lack of, I don't know, part of it's lack of push, part of it's not getting over, which some of that can be on him, I guess. But anyway, that's not my point here today. My point here today is that what we've gotten more of sort of the hybrid, more of the WWE creative doesn't know what to do with Dean Ambrose, making him a hybrid of some sort of crazy person or a badass or a silly person, mixing those three together in ways that don't connect with me personally and don't really lend themselves to the hottest of feuds, unless it's against Seth Rollins, who stabbed him in the back, you bastard. And just more of the Bray Wyatt, I'm going to say some cool sounding stuff that doesn't mean anything. And, as that goes on, for me, it starts to also sound less cool, in addition to not meaning anything, because I've heard it before and it doesn't lead anywhere. So I feel like we're in the real danger zone here, Kenny Loggins, concerning this feud. It's, and specifically really concerning Bray Wyatt, I think. We're it's been more than a year since his debut. He went through the Cena program, which, while he got to get a win in there via demonic singing children, um, he didn't come out of looking like $1 million. I didn't think. I don't think most people thought. I think at this point he's coasting along on, the cool sounding promos, and B, his entrance, which, well, everybody who's seen it live says it's a sight to behold. Is also on the track of diminishing returns, at least for me as a home viewer, most of the time. And that's a problem, I think. I mean, whether he's a heel or a face, this guy he immediately connected with people. So the kind of thing that a lot of people struggle to do over the course of a career, he did from the jump, right out of the gate, and then from there the problems have started. So it's sort of backwards to how a lot of people have it, how someone like Cesaro has it. But there's a lot of potential here in this guy. One of I'm trying not to say 7,000 more times, but an obvious point of comparison since his introduction has been The Undertaker, both in terms of sort of look and then kind of so pseudo faux supernatural gimmick, Sister Abigail, Paul Bearer, all this kind of stuff, comparisons, and he certainly could plug into that role and do it better because he can speak really well, which was always why Undertaker had Paul Bearer, and why the character got by on physical presence as opposed to microphone skills most of the time. But if we look back, and I went back and I read through some things just to refresh my memory on what Undertaker's build was like and what his feuds were always like. It was never that he wanted to ambiguously convert people, which is what we've gotten for Bray, which is what it seems to be what we're getting with Dean again. Why you would want to convert somebody who hates your guts, or I don't know. I mean, like I said, it doesn't make any sense to me, and that's not what I'm looking for out of my pro wrestling a whole lot of time. WWE doesn't do nuance real well. We've covered that a million times in the IWC. And it's not what a lot of us are looking for, at least not out of this. I mean, give the man a goal and let him be working towards it. The same thing goes for Dean, but again, I think Dean is in a better position because he's got the Rollins feud to fall back on at any point when Seth becomes free again, and he's just crazy person who is motivated by any personal slight to kick your ass is a better story than saying stuff about death and changing the world and amassing followers when you just set a bunch of followers free, and just more circular, cool sounding but meaningless stuff. Anyway, back to the Undertaker point, though. I mean, Undertaker was usually going after the belt. That was a good, he was big and he was scary and he was impervious to pain and all of this stuff, but he wanted to be WWF or WWE or World Heavyweight Champion. When that wasn't the case, he was, feuding with his brother, who he may or may not have burned alive. He was trying to get back at his manager, who turned on him by smashing him in the head with his mystical urn and he wanted to ally himself with one of the faces of Foley. There was something there. It wasn't mumbo jumbo, which is what Bray is right now. Sorry, it's true. Why does he want to amass new followers when he let two of them go? We still don't ever know why he took Kane or what went on there. I understand why, in the real world terms, why the Bray Wyatt conversion to the family the plug was pulled on it. It led to a great moment on the way to a greater moment for Bryan, but it didn't help Wyatt at all, despite getting a clean win at the Royal Rumble over Bryan. Daniel Bryan, miss you, buddy. Come back. Yeah, I mean, give him a goal and let him be working towards it. What we keep getting isn't a goal, and it's not. I'm not going to say he's buried or he's ruined because we've seen guys come back for more. I mean, one of the obvious points of comparison when I think about how the Wyatt family got booked against Cena and things like that was CM Punk and the Straight Edge Society, who was losing handicap matches to the Big Show before Punk blew up. So, you know, will Luke Harper and Eric Rowan ever recover? That's doubtful, honestly, which is a damn shame, especially in Harper's case because that dude can work. But certainly Wyatt is is the right story away from being huge, and I would like to see him get that story. I don't think it takes too much. It's as cheesy as it would be to say that he was the devil was Triple H and that's or Kane and that's why he interfered. That to me would be better. That would be more satisfying than what we're getting, which is I don't know what it is, and that's the problem. Let him state a motivation and a goal. It goes back to something I talked about in one of these a long time ago. It doesn't seem like. I mean, I guess they can get away with the cool sounding mumbo jumbo, so they're going to do it for as long as they can. But it's detrimental in the long run. I think it takes what should be a super hot program between these two guys and turns it into something that is going to have cool moments, but is ultimately going to just confuse us and then not really advance either one of them as much as it could because we weren't as invested as we could be and we were kind of confused about motivations. So give Bray a goal, even if it's cheesy, even if it's to get an urn back that possesses the spirit of Sister Abigail and Kane's blackmailing him with it. I don't care. That would be, I can deal with cheesy. I can write that off. That there's a place for that in pro wrestling. There always has been. But there's not a place for squandering talent because it sounds good, which is where I fear we're getting with Bray Wyatt. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me know yours. Chime in with other questions. I'm probably going to talk about Lucha Underground at some point because I'm getting sort of obsessed with that product even after only 2 episodes. There's a lot of fuel for conversation there, I think. So that one might be coming, or it might be a month before you see me again. I don't know. Deal with it.